Hey guys, welcome to another online episode of the show. A great memory in the chase for Ellen DeGeneres and to try and bring her here to the Gold Coast. At that time, back then, her show was the biggest thing in the world and it was an absolutely brilliant idea from these guys.
Hey Ellen, it is the Paul We're Bag Show here. We want you here down under. We started a Facebook page. There are over 17,000 people who have joined. Then we got billboards all around the Gold Coast with your face on it.
Ellen, we love you and so do these guys.
Yeah, it's got to be one of the best promotional ideas ever, really, in radio. When you get other media rolling with it and promoting it for you. And it wasn't just Australia, it was making news all around the world.
Ellen, this is Usher. You know we go way back. I'm like a big brother, little brother, big brother. You know, anyway. You got to come down on her.
Hey, what's up, Ellen? It's Craig David here. Now, you know you need to get yourself down to the Gold Coast for Paul Moore and Bags. They're waiting for you, so just hurry up, get yourself down there. We can all have a little bit of fun.
But it was when I saw this clip I had an idea that I thought could take it next level.
I know a lot of people in Australia are trying to get me there. I'm trying to get there. I'm going to get there at some point, but I love what you're doing to try to get me there.
Yeah, it's funny looking back, but when I saw Ellen acknowledge what was going on, and of course I worked with these guys in radio for a long time, I thought, man, if I can get these guys to LA, take the promotion to Ellen in her hometown, I reckon they're going to be on the show 100%. And at that time, I was in Sydney about to do some work with News Corp, so I pitched it to the management of the radio station. They said no. I pitched it again, we organised some meetings, and luckily Ben Parsons and Reese Holleran in management there, they said yes. So for the first time, the radio station was going to broadcast not just from interstate, but international, and go and chase this promotion down. So yeah, we jumped on the flight over to LA.
Nearly there. How you feeling?
Tired, 3 hours sleep, about 4 bourbon and cokes, a little hungover.
Tell us about how you feeling. First time to LA.
I was travelling really well there for a while, but then when I tried to get to sleep, I was a little bit cramped, and my mum told me to keep on moving my legs because she didn't want me to get deep vein thrombosis.
Yeah, so after a long flight, time to stretch the legs, I'd organised my friend Vinnie to be our driver for the week while the guys were there. He took us straight into Beverly Hills for a quick look around. Of course, we've got to stop in at Richie's Pizza Place there and grab a feed. And the guys, first time in LA, so super exciting walking around and keeping the credit cards in the wallet. And then, of course, the big AFL final that night.
This is the first time in Hollywood. We're just about to go in, enjoy ourselves, and go to the Pies.
So before all these streaming services and what have you now, back then it was one of the biggest nights of the year to see the AFL or Rugby League Grand Final in LA. You'd see all kinds of celebrities, and well, on this night there happened to be a few around.
All right, well, here we are. We are in LA. We're at a pub watching the AFL Grand Final. Gailey is extremely excited for Collingwood. And have a look just over here, watching the AFL Grand Final. Sam Worthington, good old Aussie, watching the massive Grand Final here in LA.
Definitely a fun night, but not so much for Gailey. Unfortunately for Gailey, it all went wrong for Collingwood and the game ended up a draw. You can't believe it. For the third time in AFL history, that's what happened. But the guys got to meet Sam Worthington. Of course, at that time, he was killing it in Avatar. The next day, we had a free day, so we jumped in the car and headed over the hill to have some fun before the work week ahead.
Yeah, and we are at the Universal Studios, a little bit hungover after a few beers and bourbons last night.
You're a bit sweaty too, aren't you?
I'm a bit sweaty, sorry about that.
Yeah. Are you copying the pit there, Moisey?
A bit of pit action there. No, it's really, really hot today. Just talking to the cab driver, he said this is the hottest it's been in ages. Thank you very much, LA, for putting on this lovely weather for us.
Yeah, if you've ever been there in the summer, you know it can get brutally hot in LA, but it was fun cruising around. Universal Studios has so many epic rides, and I had the camera out to capture a little of some of them. Yeah, lots of fun doing the tourist things as you do when you're in town. Then we drove over to Venice Beach. Time to show the guys this area, and this is where you really got to come if you're from Australia. Muscle Beach or the basketball courts, the view looking north to Malibu. The guys were starting to fade pretty badly. First full day and the heat and everything, and they had to get a good night's sleep for the first show happening soon.
Just about to go on air, live from LA to the Gold Coast, which is a little bit exciting.
This is freaking cool.
Studio is very spacious. Look.
So with the first show done, Vinnie took us over to the Grove and a big feed at the farmer's market.
It's like a thoroughbred. We're going to take this home and do some stretching.
The food is so good, but look at the size of those servings. It's crazy. Now that night we went into town on Hollywood Boulevard and took the camera along to see if we could meet some of the locals.
Get it, Mike.
Yeah, it wouldn't be Hollywood Boulevard without Michael Jackson ripping it up on the streets. Then that night, we had our first bit of good news.
You know, shower first.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, I just had a gut feeling it could be good news. You want me to come in?
There is kind of good news. I'm going to read this email to you. This is from the publicist from Ellen.
Yep.
Ellen DeGeneres' show. Hi, Simon. Now, I know you're here till Friday, so can we keep the day you attend a taping to either Wednesday or Thursday? We'll know by tomorrow which day is easier. Looks like we're one step closer, which is good, to getting on the Ellen DeGeneres show.
Exciting times, and in my mind it was always happening 100%. Now the next morning we went into Beverly Hills at Nate and Al's. This place is an industry standard. You'll always see someone of note there. We happen to see David Arquette. Now approaching a celebrity while they're eating, that's a bit tricky. I remember going over to his table, kneeling down and just pitching it the best I could and hoping for the best.
Now, David, the reason we're down here is to try and bring Ellen DeGeneres to Australia and to the Gold Coast. Have you met Ellen before?
I have. I'm very friendly with Ellen.
Yeah, everyone in LA loves Ellen DeGeneres, don't you think?
Everybody loves Ellen. Why would you not love her? She's a great girl. We play somewhat like Pictionary and like have game nights sometimes.
Wow. So, is she good at those games?
She is. She is.
So what do you reckon the chances are that we could get her to come to Australia? Because everyone in Australia loves her. Of course, she's married to Portia, who's a Geelong girl, so we would really like her here. Do you reckon we've got a good chance?
I think you have a good chance, yeah.
Or should we start the campaign bringing David Arquette to Australia?
I love Australia. I love Australians, especially Australian ladies.
Thanks.
The coolest.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's a part of town where you just never know what's going to happen and who you'll see. And even outside Nate and Al's there on the footpath, we ran into rider Larry Sloman. And you might be wondering, who is this guy, Larry Ratso Sloman? But if you've read the books about Tyson or about Anthony Kiedis or even Howard Stern, they're all his work as a rider. So you just never know who you're going to meet in this incredible city. You may even run into the hairdresser of some of the biggest stars in the world when they're just walking around the street. It can happen.
Hey, Vinnie, give me a ride, will you? Where can I sit?
It is 5:10 at CFM. This is the Paul Moira and Bag Show. We are live in LA trying to bring Ellen down under. Fine day today. Top of 26. Right now we have 22.
We've had a fantastic time thus far, having just met David Arquette, who is one of Ellen's best friends. They play Pictionary together.
Do you reckon she'd be good at that?
I reckon she'd be very good
She
at
come up with
that.
some good words.
I think she'd be very, very smart. She's a smart chick.
She'd be
I think
fun.
she'd be good. But David was pretty awesome. He was reading a script at one of the most famous diners in Beverly Hills, which is Nate and Al's.
Now, one of the big scandal stories at that time was Lindsay Lohan, and we had her father come in to find out all about it.
As she pushed you away.
She hasn't pushed me away. There's been a wedge driven between us. What's happening right now, and I just came from discussing this with a conservatorship attorney, is I found out that Dina and her new partner, who's Lindsay's business manager, her name is Lou Taylor. Lou is the woman that structured the conservatorship for Britney Spears.
Right.
And when Lindsay went to jail, everyone knows Lindsay's potential, her earning potential, and how talented she is. Lou came in like a knight in shining armor, and she bailed Lindsay out of jail, and she became Dina's best friend, and don't worry, I'm here to save the day. And one thing led to the next, and now they're bringing Lindsay into a rehab, and what Lindsay doesn't know, which I hope she knows now from all the press this morning, is that they want to file a conservatorship and take over her entire life.
Gold Coast model Lisa Gleave's been a friend of mine for a long time, so it was fun to have her come in and catch up with the guys for a chat.
We have to say hello to Lisa Gleave. Now, for those that, because the Gold Coast is growing all the time, right? So for those that don't know on the Gold Coast, Lisa Gleave is a Gold Coast girl. We met her back in '97 when she actually won Miss Indy. I think she was reigning champion then. So you won in 1996. And I met you in '97.
Yes, you did.
During our time there, Moira told Vinnie that she was a huge fan of Marilyn Monroe. So on, I think it was the next morning, Vinnie had a bit of a surprise for her before the show.
Oh my God, we're going to see Marilyn's grave, aren't we? Oh my God.
Boys, do you want to explain to everyone right now why you've been tearing up for the last 5 minutes?
Just another tearing up moment here in LA. We're here at the cemetery, and Marilyn Monroe's gravestone or sort of area is just behind us there. And that's a pretty massive moment for me to actually see where she is. And as we've just found out, there's fresh flowers there every single day.
So a big moment there for Moira, but when we got in the studio, Bags got an email and a big moment for everyone.
If you're riding together, okay, this is a good email. This is already kind of read through it. If you're riding together, you can park at stage 3. Simon Baggs can talk to security because he has permission to drive on the lot. If Paul and Moira are passengers, you are all set. But if riding separate, they'll park at gate 3. Here are your security list and parking instructions for the show. Parking assignment are below. Gate 3, parking structure off Barham Boulevard. Walk across the street to security, blah, 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 blah. Arrival time, 3 o'clock, Gold Coast. Contact Chris Carvel, and Bonnie Horton. Dressing room 2.
What? We have a dressing room? We have a dressing room.
Do you need to have a dressing room to be in the audience?
We have a dressing room. At the Ellen show.
Are we going to be on the show? Oh, yeah.
Yes, the vibe in the studio when they were recording was pretty much like those faces the whole time, but the guys super excited and then preparing to have a pretty good night's sleep because the next day it was all about jumping in the car and heading to the Ellen show.
Hey, how are you, Dan? It is around about 20 to 3 over here in LA at the moment. We've been told to meet at the Ellen DeGeneres shows at 3 o'clock, and then we don't know what is going to happen.
Yes, we're a little bit nervous. It's quite funny because we kind of we didn't know what was happening, so we bought some new clothes to actually go on, which will be totally wasted if we were up the back behind a pole. But I've noticed also that I probably should have ironed my shirt, so I might be the most ungroomed person ever in the history of Ellen.
So there you go, on our way to Burbank and the studios, and the Think and Ideas started on the Gold Coast and now about to end up on the biggest talk show in the world. Crazy. I wasn't allowed to film anything, but we picked it up after.
Right, well, we have just finished at the first taping of the Ellen DeGeneres show. We've been invited back to come back tomorrow, which is massive. We've got to meet her as well in the audience.
Beautiful woman.
The producers have said, come back and be prepared to do anything.
And I got told to wear pants.
Okay, what are we going to be doing?
Dress this time. So we don't know what we could be doing, no or go. We could be doing anything. And they said, are you up for anything? And we said, yes, we are. We're Australian.
We think that they might be asking Moira to ride a camel.
I'm cool with that.
So you can imagine the buzz knowing you're going to be back on the show and part of a segment. So we celebrated that night out in town. Did a little bit more press, this time with the Today Show, doing a live cross back and then hanging out with Richard Reed, who did their entertainment reports for many years. And the cool thing about being at the show was we could organise a guest for the next radio show. Vinnie knew Pete Yorn's manager. Next thing you know, he's on the show.
This is Ellen FM. We've changed the name for the day. Showers for you today, a top of 22. Right now we have 20 degrees at CFM. It's the Paul Moira and Bag Show. We're live from LA.
And joined by Ben Lyons in the studio. He's film critic. You've appeared on The View. You do all the red carpets. You've done a whole heap of stuff. It's a pleasure to meet you.
It's nice to meet you as well. And right before I signed at E, I almost, but didn't get the job as Ellen DeGeneres' DJ.
Wow!
I met with her. I found the ad off Craigslist and somehow ended up 2 meetings later in the office with Ellen and Portia. Made her a mixtape. I didn't get the job, so I'm stuck here with you guys.
Did you have any background, by the way?
Yeah, no, I used to DJ a lot in high school, and then when I first moved out to LA, I DJ'd a couple spots here, and then those days are long gone. But that Ellen job was in my grasp. I could have been something.
You or not right now.
I swear to God.
Okay.
Next up was Pete, and his story is pretty amazing. He did an album with Scarlett Johansson. His brothers are major players, one a big lawyer and the other a film producer and manager to some pretty heavy hitters.
Mate, it's great to have you in. Now, tell us about your relationship with Ellen, because when she introduced you on the show yesterday, we noticed she said, a good friend of mine. How did you get to meet Ellen, and how did it come about that you're on the show?
I've known Ellen for maybe like 8-9 years. Years ago, me and my brother were looking for a house, and we walk in, and it was an open house, and we're meeting a real estate agent over there, and Ellen's just hanging out. We're like, what the hell? This is a sweet house. And Ellen's like, this is my house. And she gave us this crazy tour of this house, and we fell in love with it, and I ended up living there for like the next 2.5 years.
Wow.
And yeah, it was an amazing house. She has this thing where she buys houses, lives in them, makes them really cool, and then flips them. And so she's done that a number of times. But yeah, I've been on her show like 3 times over the years, and she's always been amazing, really nice, really supportive of my stuff, and I love Ellen. I love her.
Now, you have your guitar in here with you.
Yeah.
Would you honour us with a song, please?
Yeah, I'll do something.
What are you going to pump out there, Pete?
That sounds so wrong.
This future life's been freaking me out. I'm still attached to being a new kid in town. Family, no real responsibility, and my friends.
Yeah, so super fun having Pete come in as well. He's an awesome talent. Now the guys, they had a big night's sleep because the next morning, you can imagine, again, in the van over to the Ellen Studios.
Alright, well here we are. We're just about to head into the Ellen DeGeneres Studios here on the Warner Brothers lot.
Feeling a little bit nervous, feeling a bit excited. I'm feeling a little bit more relaxed because we know what to expect, except for what is going to happen to us on the show.
Yeah, this is the last thing we can film now going in, so we'll have to say fingers crossed, and hopefully we'll get the letter from Anna Blythe to Ellen and have some fun.
Yeah, so there you go. We made our way into dressing room 2 on the Ellen show. I remember they had a whole bunch of chocolate in there, and that was quickly devoured. I couldn't film anything again, so we pick it up in the car.
Alright, well we've just come out of the Warner Brothers lot for the Ellen DeGeneres show, and we have been on the show. Met Ellen DeGeneres, it was amazing.
But it was exciting to get down there and speak to her and talk up the Gold Coast, and of course the clip got played.
Yes.
Got played on the TV, and that's up to 30 million people seeing, you know, a crowd from the Gold Coast, and us mentioning how great the Gold Coast is.
Yeah, absolutely incredible for the Gold Coast, and you can imagine how pumped the guys were after experiencing that. Now, that night, a friend of mine, Adam Rifkin, had a premiere of his new TV series, so I went along to that. We ended up partying a little bit, not like hangover partying, but, you know, enough so that the next day when Vinnie had a special surprise for the guys, which involved going up in the hills and all the winding roads and everything, which is the worst thing you can experience if you're feeling a little bit sort of hungover. Moira was particularly struggling. The guys had no idea whose house they were at, but they had to pull it together quickly to do the interview.
He's fighting crime and everything, and I'm like the head crime guy with James Fran, along with James Fran. So we're both, you know, the crime bosses of the town. Sort of like Batman, Robin in Gotham City, you know, if you take all them characters and Batman's fighting them all. Well, that's basically what the Cape's doing, which is Dave Lyons.
And so that's going to be pretty big.
Yeah, Moira having to bail mid-interview. Now, it's never been confirmed if she did throw up in Vinnie's garden, but I'm sure he's a super easygoing, compassionate guy. He would have understood. Then it was time to film with our Vinnie and some of the sights you see in the hills.
Now, Vinnie, it's not perfect actually today, is it, as far as having a good shot?
We have a bit overcast because of the clouds. But down there is that's downtown LA, that whole big group of tall buildings that you see. And when I came in '66, there was only one, the police headquarters, that they used to shoot on Dragnet. If your parents might.
Did they know about you, Vinnie?
Hey, yeah, they dragged me in there a few times. Now, if you look over to the right, and if you see that tall building by itself, flanked by that shorter black tall building, that's where you guys recorded all week.
Oh,
that's
wow.
Wilshire Boulevard, that's CBS Radio Studios. And this is the Hollywood side.
Now that down here is the Hollywood Bowl.
That's the Hollywood Bowl right there in front of you.
Yeah.
See the seats?
Oh, wow.
That's the Hollywood Bowl. And you drive in there, and then it's a natural amphitheater. And if you would turn the other way, you would see the big famous arch at the bowl that everybody knows.
Yeah, so I'm glad the guys got to meet and hang out with Vinnie, and look at them all crashed out at Vinnie's place, absolutely exhausted. They're about to fly back to Australia, but before that, one more cross, this time at Channel 7, going live back to Australia and talking about their adventure. And the cool thing was, the Ellen show, which is taped the day before, was about to air, so we got to see it.
I recently found out about a campaign going on that started back in April in Australia. 3 DJs have been trying to get me to come do my show from Australia's Gold Coast, and this is some of the things that they have done. Amazing. I'm dying to go there. I know a lot of people in Australia are trying to get me there. I'm trying to get there. I'm going to get there at some point.
Hopefully we get Ellen DeGeneres to come to the Gold Coast.
I've got Paul from the Paul, Moira and Bag show on CFM. These are the guys who orchestrated this whole plan to get Ellen to Australia.
Ellen DeGeneres, if you see this, we want you on the Gold Coast. We've got plenty of things for you to do.
This morning there were about 1,500 people here on Surfers Paradise Beach, all dancing for Ellen DeGeneres.
Come on, Mark.
I have not been able to get there, and so I decided to have them come here, and they're in the audience today. Where are Moira, Paul, and Bags? Come on down.
No, the price is right.
This is kind of good. You're here.
This is amazing. This is so weird for us. We got to meet you yesterday in the audience. You are the nicest person in this world. We love you.
Thank you so much. I feel, I kept getting updated a little bit that y'all were doing this, and of course, I haven't been able to get there. I'm sending Oprah instead. So that was my idea. But really, I would love to go, and of course, Portia's from Australia, and so I really want, I want to get there because I'd like to see Australia. And whose idea really was this?
Well, we came up with it together. We were actually talking about how cool it would be to have you do voiceovers and that sort of thing, and then Bags got stuck into the Facebook and then it exploded. It's been massive, and because, of course, you and Portia, so you would be visiting like Oprah, you're just meeting family.
Right. Well, listen, I am dying to get there, and I will get there, I promise. I promise I'll get there at some point. But thank you for doing, and I know that's just some of it. We'll put the rest on the website, because you'll have to see what they've done. It's incredible. It's amazing. So, all right, so we're raising money for breast cancer, and which one of you would like to volunteer to get up there and raise some money for breast cancer? I will. Yes? Yes. All right.
It's a new jacket too, she's got.
All right. It's a new jacket? Hey? It's a new jacket?
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. There's a woman wearing the same jacket in the audience. I'll just borrow her.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, so cute. Oh, man. All right. So here's the question. I think you'll get these right. I have over 5 million followers on Twitter. What's the maximum number of characters for a tweet?
120? Oh, no, don't you?
I'm going to give you another chance. It's 140.
Thank you.
But
It's
I'm gonna give you-
140.
Yeah. I don't want to dunk you. I don't want to dunk you, but when I dunk you, we raise $10,000, so I'm going to have to dunk you at some point.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Let's see, because your fans, what animal did I just dedicate a week of my show to?
The platypus?
I care deeply for you, but bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See, here you go right there.
I
Premier Anna Bly told us to actually, we've got this organised for you, and it's an invitation for you to come to the Gold Coast in Queensland.
Wow.
So she's in charge of Queensland, and she said, pass on the letter for us.
That's so fantastic. Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you.
Again, thank you so much for everything y'all are doing.
We'll keep going so much.
I'll get there. I promise I will. Thank you so much.
So a big thanks to the guys that helped us out in the studio, Mark, Eric and Andrew. Awesome hanging out with those guys. The radio guys, they flew back to Australia representing the Gold Coast and putting it out globally on TV. I actually changed my flight and stayed in LA, and when the Kyle and Jackie O show needed someone to go and do an interview on the set of Glee, a show I'd never seen before, I was told at the time it was the biggest show on TV, and if you've seen the scene in Notting Hill where he gets thrown into those interviews, that happened to me. I just sat there and had a crack.
What's been like the most magic moment for you, like in this town? Has there been moments where yourself where you think this is like crazy?
Well, when you're on a red carpet with people like Meryl Streep and she's saying hi to you, you're like, okay, what's happening? It's very weird, and it's...
Well, man, in a journey like this that you're having at the moment, what's it like to all of a sudden find yourself on a show that's pretty much pound for pound the biggest show in the world right now?
Even just hearing you say that, I just get like chills. None of us ever expected this.
So it's crazy to think it's 10 years ago, but now there's so many changes. I mean, Ellen, who was literally the most famous person, everybody loved her. It kind of was a bad couple of years for her, and her show's being cancelled. Gailey's now doing breakfast radio at Hot Tomato. Moira and Bags are in the afternoon. And funnily enough, when Hot Tomato launched, I made their TV ads. So some fun moments to look back on, an absolutely brilliant promotion from start to finish, and what an opportunity for the Gold Coast. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.